Welcome to You Don't Know You Don't Know.
Okay, let's unpack this. When you hear secret society, what immediately comes to mind? Whispers, ancient rituals,
Hmm.
perhaps powerful alumni pulling strings from the shadows.
Yeah, exactly. It's a concept that's really captivated people for centuries, hasn't it? And nowhere more so, perhaps, than at a place like Yale University.
Absolutely, that Yale mystique is strong.
That's right. So today we're taking a deep dive into Yale's senior secret societies. We want to try and move beyond, the sensational rumors
Get past the hype.
and really uncover their true nature and their enduring impact. For this, we've pulled from a whole range of sources.
Okay.
Various Wikipedia entries for the big ones: Skull and Bones, Scroll and Key, Book and Snake, Wolf's Head, articles from the Yale Daily News, other publications too.
Right.
And some really fascinating insights from Alexandra Robbins' book, Secrets of the Tomb.
Ah, yes. That one caused a stir.
It did. So our mission really is to help you, our listener, the learner, cut through the myths, understand their history, their traditions, their influence, which is significant, and, well, their surprising current relevance.
Okay, sounds good.
Mhm.
Let's start with what people often call the big three societies at Yale. That's Skull and Bones, Scroll and Key, and Wolf's Head.
Mm-hmm.
First up, got to be Skull and Bones. Probably the most famous or maybe infamous. You might hear it called the Order 322.
The Brotherhood of Death.
Right. All very dramatic.
It is, and it's the oldest senior society there, founded way back in 1832.
1832. Wow.
Yeah, and its origins are actually quite interesting. It apparently came out of a dispute among Yale's debating societies.
A fight?
Yeah, over awards from Phi Beta Kappa, the Academic Honor Society.
Huh. Okay. And they pick just 15 juniors every year.
Just 15, highly selective.
And their symbols are, well, they're truly iconic. The badge with the skull and crossbones.
Instantly recognizable.
And that number, 322, on the lower jaw, that 322 is a huge part of the mystique, isn't it? What's the story there?
It really is. And the different stories around 322 kind of capture the whole allure, you know? The most common belief is that it represents 322 BC, the year the Greek orator Demosthenes died. Members supposedly even date things from that year, Anno Demostheni.
Anno Demostheni, okay.
But then, the mystery deepens. There are other legends. Some link it to a German university's second corps, whatever that means.
Right.
Or even a specific Freemasonic lodge. So you've got this mix of scholarly history, Masonic hints, a bit of deliberate mystery.
Keeps people guessing.
Exactly. And they also supposedly worship Eulogia, a fictional goddess of eloquence.
Right, Eulogia. And then there's this whole crooking thing. Basically, stealing keepsakes from other societies.
Yeah, it sounds like this weird competitive tradition. They apparently try to outdo each other's crooks.
Huh. And they've even been accused of having skulls of famous people, like Geronimo.
That Geronimo skull story is persistent, yeah. Whether it's true or not, who knows? Part of the legend.
And the buildings themselves add to it, right? The tomb.
Oh, absolutely. The facilities are shrouded in secrecy, too. The tomb at 64 High Street, it's this imposing brownstone Egypto-Doric style.
Facing away from campus towards the cemetery, very symbolic.
Very built-in phases. And then there's Deer Island.
Right, the island retreat.
Yeah, 40 acres up on the St. Lawrence River. Our sources say it's for members to, rekindle old friendships,
Okay.
but also described as a boot camp for future cabinet secretaries. New members chop wood, rowboats, memorize lore.
Building that bond.
Exactly, forging that intense loyalty.
And the alumni network, Skull and Bones.
Mm.
It's legendary, isn't it? Managed by the Russell Trust Association, set up way back in 1856.
Mm-hmm. Incorporated by William Huntington Russell and Daniel Coit Gilman. We'll come back to him.
And serious money involved. Multi-million-dollar endowments. You said over $17 million in 2024.
Yeah, the Russell Trust had about $3.9 million in assets back in 2016, and the endowment was reported at $17 million more recently. They've definitely got that power elite reputation.
Right. I saw that quote from Lanny Davis in the 68 yearbook describing the sort of ideal Bones class.
Oh, yeah.
Football captain, Yale Daily News editor, a radical, a whiff and poof, and, if possible, a Negro, as he put it then. Shows the times.
It really does. And look at the members. Presidents Taft, George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush, John Kerry, too.
Bob Woodward, Henry Luce, Avril Harriman. Big names.
Huge names. And they have those strange nicknames for members, right?
Yeah. Long Devil for the tallest, Boaz for the football captain.
Names drawn from literature, mythology, Hamlet, Thor, Odin, Magog. adds to the mystique.
But it has changed, hasn't it? It's not just that old guard anymore.
No, and that's what's fascinating, how this institution, so steeped in tradition, has had to adapt. Or maybe was forced to adapt.
Like admitting the first black member in 65.
Right, and the president of Yale's gay student organization in 1975, those were big steps then.
But that co-education battle in 1991, that sounds like it was intense.
Oh, it was huge. The undergraduate members, the class of 91, they tapped women.
But the alumni resisted.
Some alumni, yeah. Called them the Bad Club. Apparently changed the locks on the tomb.
Wow. So the new members couldn't even get in?
Nope, they had to meet somewhere else. It blew up, ended up in the New York Times. There were lawsuits involving people like William F. Buckley Jr.
But how did it get resolved?
It took a couple of mail-in votes from the alumni. The first one approved women, but the lawsuit blocked it. Then a second vote in October 91 finally let the class of 92 include women, and the lawsuit was dropped.
A real fight for change then.
Definitely. And that evolution kept going. According to The Atlantic, the society tapped its first entirely non-white class in 2020.
Really? Entirely non-white.
That's what the source says. Fewer legacy admits, descendants of alumni. Progressive activism is apparently seen as an asset now.
Huh.
One source even noted the class of 2021 didn't admit any conservatives. So it really shows how these societies reflect, or maybe refract, the bigger shifts happening at Yale.
Okay, so that's Skull and Bones. Ancient, powerful, evolving. But what about their rival, Scroll and Key? If Bones is veiled power, what's their vibe?
Right, Scroll and Key. Founded 1842, so second oldest, and reputedly the wealthiest.
Healthier than Bones.
Reputedly, yeah. Also formed after disputes over Skull and Bones elections, so that rivalry goes way back.
And their alumni group, the Kingsley Trust Association?
Yeah.
Big donors to Yale.
Very big. They fund the John Addison Porter Prize, which has been around since 1872, and they provided the endowment to start the Yale University Press back in 1917. Significant philanthropic footprint.
They have their own traditions too, right? Singing a song on the steps.
The door song.
Yeah.
And they use these secret letter combinations, CSP and CCJ, in their communications.
And their tomb is different, more flashy.
It's definitely distinct Moorish revival style, built in 1870. One undergrad apparently called it the nicest building in all of New Haven.
High praise. It's meant to stand out.
Seems so. And Scroll and Key also taps 15 rising seniors, men and women. Their focus is said to be on those who have achieved in any field.
So broader than just, say, the football captain.
Yeah, it could be newspaper editors, artists, activists, athletes, entrepreneurs, scholars, really valuing diverse kinds of achievement.
And their member list is also pretty impressive. Mark Twain, honorary member.
Yeah, Mark Twain, honorary. Then you have Cole Porter, Dean Acheson, Dr. Benjamin Spock.
Gary Trudeau, Fareed Zakaria, even Alexander Robbins, who wrote the book we mentioned.
Right, so the author investigating these societies was actually a member of one. Adds an interesting layer.
It really does. Okay, so that's Scroll and Key, wealthy, philanthropic, diverse achievers.
Yeah.
What about the third one of the big three, Wolf's Head?
Wolf's Head, founded later, 1883, called the Third Society.
And their goal was?
Explicitly to counter the dominance of Skull and Bones. It was started by 15 seniors with help from hundreds of alumni and law school faculty.
So a direct challenge.
Absolutely. They even had the nickname Fox and Grapes at first, like the fable. A bit of a dig at the older societies they couldn't initially join.
Clever. And their symbol is different, too. A wolf's head on an ankh.
Yeah, the ankh, the Egyptian key of life, symbolizing eternal life. It's meant to be distinct from the death symbols of Bones, or the erudition symbols.
And they were less precious about their pins.
Apparently, yeah. Early members would let others handle their pin, which was a direct rejection of how secretive Bones and Keys were about theirs.
And they weren't fans of the rituals.
Not at all. Members openly mocked what they called the poppycock of the Masonic-style rituals of Skull and Bones.
They actually pranked them.
Yeah, displaying the 322 and skull and crossbones at a theater performance. And Yale President A. Whitney Griswold, himself a Yale man, supposedly dismissed the older rituals as bonesy bullshit.
Strong words.
Captures the rivalry, doesn't it? Wolf's Head has had two main buildings. The old hall is now used by Yale for social and policy studies.
Right.
Their new hall, from around 1924, is right in the middle of the biggest secret society complex on campus. Very prominent spot.
On membership, how many do they tap?
16 students now, men and women. Wolf's Head was actually the last of the big three to go co-ed, admitting women in spring '92.
And they have a reputation for tapping a certain type.
Yeah, the sources mention a reputation for tapping the gregarious prep school type.
Okay. And are they wealthy too?
Quite. Their alumni group, the Phelps Association, had nearly $7 million in trust in 2016. Second wealthiest after Scroll and Key based on that data point.
And they've had influence on campus.
Yes. Members have been linked to big changes like the coeducation of Yale College itself, setting up the residential college system, founding the Elizabethan Club, the Yale Political Union. So real institutional impact.
Okay, so that's the big three. Bones, Keys, and Wolf's Head, each with its own history, vibe, and influence. But there are others, right? What about Book and Snake?
Right, Book and Snake, it's the fourth oldest, founded in 1863, but it started differently.
How so?
It was founded at the Sheffield Scientific School, which was Yale's science and engineering school back then, and it began as a 3-year society called Sigma Delta Chi.
Ah, so not originally a senior society.
Exactly, it adapted. In 1876, they incorporated as the Stone Trust Corporation to own property. That was named after an alumnus, Louis Bridgestone.
Okay.
But they changed the society's name to Book and Snake later, partly to avoid confusion with national fraternities that might have similar Greek letters, and because of their pin.
Which features a book and a snake, presumably.
You got it. Originally an open book with the Greek letters Bous, surrounded by a coiled serpent.
And they had their own building, too, the Cloister.
Yes, they moved to Elm Street and created Yale's first social dormitory called Cloister. That became their nickname, the Cloister Club.
A dorm run by a secret society.
Seems like it. They later built Cloister Hall, a combined chapter house and dorm, in 1888.
But they sold it.
Yeah, sold it to Yale in 1933 when the university created the residential college system we know today. That's when Book and Snake fully converted to being just a senior society.
Interesting path. Do they have notable philanthropy, like Scroll and Key?
They do. They established the Arthur Greer Memorial Prize in 1987. It recognizes outstanding scholarly publication or research at Yale, and it's considered one of the university's highest honors.
So a commitment to academics there.
Seems so. And they're financially solid, too. Ranked third wealthiest in 2016, with over $5.6 million in assets then.
And they have a bit of different reputation.
More.
Party-oriented.
Yeah, the sources mention a party reputation, often tapping lots of athletes and members of fraternities and sororities. A different social scene, perhaps.
And their symbols.
Yeah.
You mentioned the pin.
Right. The modern pin is an open book with an Ouroboros that's the snake eating its tail, but no Greek letters. Their tomb is described in quite lofty terms.
Oh, yeah.
Like the perpetual attempt of establishing an official perfect order on Earth, a sort of platonic reflection of heavenly secret societies.
Wow. Deep.
Very. And they have this tradition with tankards. Each member gets one, pewter or glass, kept in the tomb's dining room.
Okay.
When a member dies, their tankard is either broken or pierced through the bottom. A permanent memorial right there.
That's poignant. And their tomb building itself, where is it?
It's right on the corner of Grove and High Streets, near the law school. Visually, it's really striking.
How so?
It's windowless, made of solid white Vermont marble, even a marble tile roof, big Ionic pillars out front. The bronze door is modeled after a temple in Athens, the Erechtheion.
So very grand, very classical.
Exactly. It's been called the finest replica of a Greek temple in the United States. And it had some cool architectural firsts, like using steel beams in part of the residence.
Huh. Surrounded by a fence with snakes on it.
Wrought iron snakes, yeah. And they added a sculpture called Aspire more recently in 2021.
And membership for Book and Snake, how many and who?
They tap 16 members a year now, 8 men and 8 women. And significantly, one source states Book and Snake was the first secret society on campus to admit women and minorities.
The first. Before Bones or Keys, that's important.
It is, if accurate. It suggests they might have been ahead of the curve on that front.
And notable members.
Yeah.
Anyone who would recognize.
Definitely. Bill Nelson, the NASA administrator. Les Aspin, former Secretary of Defense. John Vernew Bouvier III, that's Jackie Kennedy's father.
Wow.
Eddie Egan, the only person to win gold medals in both Summer and Winter Olympics. Henry Ford II. Henry Louis Skipgates Jr., and Bob Woodward again.
Woodward was in Bones and Book and Snake.
Mm-hmm.
Or is there confusion?
Well, the sources list him for both. It's possible he was tapped by both, or there's an error in one source, but it highlights his prominence at Yale. It shows these networks can overlap.
Okay, so now we have a picture of these major societies. If we try to connect the dots, How significant was their influence, historically speaking?
Oh, historically, it seems immense, particularly when you look at Yale's institutional fabric and even beyond. Think about the founding of Johns Hopkins University, a major research institution.
Okay, what's the connection?
Yale graduates were critical. Daniel Quake-Gilman, who we mentioned earlier as incorporating Skull and Bones.
Right, from the Russell Trust.
He was the founding president of Johns Hopkins, and clearly a major figure in Bones, serving as its treasurer, a real power to be reckoned with.
One guy, okay. But were there others?
Absolutely. William Henry Welch, also a Bonesman, he was the first faculty appointment at Johns Hopkins Medical School, became the leader of the whole scientific revolution in American medicine.
Another bonesman founding Hopkins Med.
And Welch himself said Skull and Bones was very important to him. Then there's Harvey Cushing, the founder of neurosurgery. He was scroll and key.
Keys this time.
Yeah, apparently he chose keys over bones because he thought the better men in his class were going key that year. Shows the competition.
Interesting. Anyone notable who wasn't tapped?
Well, William Stewart Halsted, he was the first professor of surgery at Hopkins, a star athlete and football captain at Yale, but not tapped for bones or keys.
Huh. Shows how exclusive it was, even for high achievers.
Exactly. And Yale's own official history talks about its exasperatedly and mysteriously successful nature, inspiring incredible loyalty.
All right, I saw that quote somewhere. Something about Harvard men.
Yeah, attributed to a Harvard alum. He'd send his son to Yale because, in real life, all the Harvard men are working for Yale men.
Ouch. Bit of Ivy League rivalry there.
Definitely. And in the 19th century, look at Yale itself. So many Yale presidents, deans, administrators, faculty were bonesmen. The Yale Corporation, the governing body, was liberally sprinkled with bones and keys members.
So it wasn't just a social club.
Far from it. One assessment was that at times, Yale College practically operated as a wholly owned subsidiary of Skull and Bones.
Wow. That's incredible influence.
And the patriarchs, the graduate members, held on to that influence tightly. Remember them changing the locks in '91 when the undergrads voted for women?
Yeah, direct intervention.
Shows the power they wielded, or at least thought they wielded.
Okay, so that was then. Massive historical influence. But here's where it gets really interesting, as you say. Are these societies still important today? Or are they just, historical footnotes with fancy buildings?
That's the big debate, isn't it? And there are strong opinions on both sides.
Like David Richards, who wrote Skulls and Keys. What's his take?
Richards acknowledges that, yeah, the prestige probably fell off a cliff in 1969. That's when Yale really started diversifying, moving away from the traditional waspish legacy male student body that dominated the societies.
So he agrees they're less central.
Less central than they were, yes. But he argues they are still important. He points to the sheer number of societies still active. It's astounding, he says. And very few students actually opt out if they get tapped. Only 12 in 2015, for example.
Huh. So students still want in. Why does he think they're still valuable?
He argues the value has shifted. It's less about raw power now, more about emotional learning, exposure to different perspectives you wouldn't otherwise encounter, getting to know people outside your usual bubble.
Okay, that's one view. But not everyone agrees.
Not at all. You have critics like Helen Andrews. She basically argues they've slipped so far into irrelevance they're not important enough to be worth banning.
Oof. That's harsh.
Yeah. She said she barely recognized the names of people tapped in her class. Her view was that Richard's book should have, dished some secrets instead of just recounting history.
So for her, they're just not a big deal anymore.
Pretty much. But then you have Alexandra Robbins, the Secrets of the Tomb author.
Who was in Scroll and Key herself.
Right. She argues they still hold the same allure for, as she puts it, a certain slice of the Yale student body. They're quintessentially Yale. They create curiosity, a longing for recognition.
So the mystique still works.
She thinks so. And she argues their endurance comes down to perfecting this alumni fast-track model.
Meaning?
The ritualized intimacy, the secrecy, the shared experience. It creates lifelong loyalty, which then builds this really dense, self-reinforcing network for members after graduation.
The network is the key.
That's her argument. It's less about hidden control, more about incredibly effective networking built on deep bonds.
What do current students think? Or the administration?
Perspectives vary there, too. We found one account from a landed society member, someone who joined one. He found his own society valuable for personal growth, meeting different people.
Okay.
But he felt his society might be an exception, saying many others seemed more like casual drinking clubs.
So quality varies.
Seems likely. Another student described them as enjoyable and perhaps meaningful, but acknowledged they probably lack real sociopolitical influence today, even though they take up a lot of the senior class's time and energy.
Interesting. And the dean.
Yale College Dean Marvin Chun said he generally hears positive things from students about meeting people outside of their usual circle, which echoes Richard's point about diverse perspectives.
So it brings up this question, doesn't it? Is there importance today about actual tangible power? Or is it more about the time, the resources, the emotional investment that students still pour into them?
Exactly. And maybe the mystery factor itself still plays a role. Like Lyman Bagg observed way back in 1871, they remain the one great enigma which college gossip never tires of discussing. The secrecy itself keeps them relevant in a way.
So what does this all mean for you as the learner? We've journeyed through this world of Yale's secret societies. They're public yet private, historically powerful, but clearly adapting, holding immense wealth, and yeah, still sparking endless fascination.
I think our sources paint a picture that's maybe less about, shadowy figures controlling the world from a tomb.
Right. Less Illuminati, maybe?
Yeah, less Illuminati, more about perfected networking machines, built on tradition, deep loyalty, and the undeniable psychological pull of being part of something exclusive and secret.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. As these societies keep evolving, trying to blend that deep-rooted tradition with today's demands for more diversity, more transparency, how might that enduring element of secrecy continue to shape how people see them, and maybe even shape the reality for those both inside and outside those imposing windowless walls?
Well, that's a wrap. Hope you liked the episode. Don't miss out on new episodes of You Don't Know, You Don't Know. New episodes every week. Like and subscribe.